Oh, I like that. We could be at a dance party together, I think. Excellent. Welcome, everybody, to Noon on Tuesday. Today, we are going to introduce you to Curds and Wine. And if you don't know about it, you should, because they are San Diego's go-to shop for wine and cheese-making supplies. And I am here today with the founder and owner of Curds and Wine, who's going to share tips and everything in this whole world of, I guess I'd call it just fermentation.
Yeah.
But first, we're going to start with this. I would probably say Gisela as the name, but I think truly it's Gisela. Gisela, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We call you G mostly, right?
Yeah.
Welcome, Gisela.
Thanks. Yeah. I like to keep it simple. Just go with G.
Just go with G.
Yeah.
Okay, so G it is. Well, welcome, G, and Curds and Wine.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with the story of kind of just how we first met. Is that you and your husband Arnie came to one of our Academy of Cheese classes, and I remember that so vividly. We were just sitting around the table, and you told us of this idea that you had for Curds and Wine. How long ago was that?
7 years.
7 years. Congratulations
Thank
to you.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Well, tell first a little bit about yourself, you know,
Yeah.
where you're from.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Well, like originally, or
Yeah.
Well, funny thing, I grew up in the South.
In the
so-
South, you don't have an accent.
I know, right?
Mhm.
Well, I lived in northern Alabama. so-
Okay. Alabama, yeah.
Yeah, but Rocket City, so everybody there was from the Midwest. It was kind of an odd place. And then I actually moved to Nashville, where I got my PhD in cell biology at Vanderbilt.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because before I opened Curds and Wine, I was a bench scientist doing cancer research drug discovery.
My gosh, what an interesting switch of careers. And
Yeah, well,
yeah.
companies closed, and it got old, so I was like,
Yeah.
well, maybe I can do my own thing. And
Right.
got the idea for Curds and Wine, and after the second company closed, I'm like, well, let's try this.
Now
And-
this idea must come to true.
Yeah.
And is what brought you to San Diego then? Was it
My
to open this?
postdoc.
And okay,
Yeah.
so that brought you
Mhm.
here.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Curds and Wine had been simmering and simmering in the brain, and
No,
this was
it happened during the first layoff. I had started making
Yeah.
wine at home. And I was actually listening to a podcast in the
Wow.
lab.
Yeah.
Because, tedious pipetting, you have to listen to something.
sure.
Listening to this wine podcast called Cellar Rat.
Huh.
And Alan Baker, the Cellar Rat, he worked at NPR. He just quit, decided he wanted to make wine,
Yeah,
moved to California, and
Mhm.
just started trying to make wine with people.
that's so cool.
I know. And I was like, oh, so
That's
learn
an
more
awesome
about
idea.
winemaking.
Uh-huh.
And ultimately, he ended up working at a place called Crush Pad, which
Mhm.
is a custom crush in San Francisco, I should
Yeah.
say. But they're kind of big scale. So basically, anybody can call them up and say, I want to make some wine.
Okay.
Tell them what kind. They'll have a certain kind of varietals that they have contracts to pick. And Crush Pad would make the wine for them. And people could be as involved or not as they wanted to.
Sure.
And they could also sell it because Crush Pad was bonded.
Mhm.
It was a little bigger scale than what I wanted to do, but basically I was making wine at home and there was really nowhere to buy supplies.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, if I open a shop and people can make wine with me. And then I
Yeah.
started hearing about these U-vents in Canada. They're everywhere.
A U-vend.
U-vent.
Mhm.
So U-vent on site.
U-vent. I'm a little slow.
Yeah. So basically, Canada, the
Mhm.
alcohol taxes are so high. Almost everybody makes wine.
Interesting.
Yeah,
We think
so-
we have it bad
I
then.
know,
You're
right?
not so bad. Okay.
But I was like, oh, that's more my scale because I started making wine with the wine kits, which are very
Yeah.
contained, very clean, and you can make it any time of year.
Okay.
And almost any varietal from anywhere in the world.
In the world, that's so
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have to wait for harvest season and
No.
just grab your grapes then.
Whenever you want, whenever you're bored,
Mm,
whenever you want
nice.
some wine.
Right. So you learned, you're like, this is really intriguing. And you're like,
Yeah.
could I do this in
It's like,
a different
well,
scale?
I
Yeah.
should try. And the cheese part kind of came in as I was, once I'd started formulating the idea and it looked like my company was going to be closing on me. I had this couple friends that were making cheese, and one friend, Friday night, he calls me and he's like, do you have any rennet? And I'm like, what? Do I have what? And do you have rennet? And I'm like, no, I don't have rennet. Why would I have rennet? He's like, I thought you made cheese. I'm like, I don't make cheese. What do you need rennet for? He's like, there's nowhere to buy rennet. I'm like, oh, Really?
Ding! The little light bulb went
I
off.
can fix that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, well, I
One
should
thing
make cheese.
you
That
should
goes
make
with
cheese.
wine.
They go with wine.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and it's all science,
Mhm.
which is awesome.
Yeah, with
So,
your background, which I
mhm.
didn't realize that, they
I
could
see.
kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Very very
Mhm.
scientific, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Both. And I
Mhm.
think that maybe a little bit what might scare some people is the science side of things. I know it does me. I
Yeah.
think I'm all into the affinage or maybe the art part of making, but then
Yeah.
I get worried when people start throwing things out like pH and
Totally. Flocculation.
yes, what is that? That seems kind of scary. I don't want to have flocculation, do I?
Well, you do at the right time.
Okay, good to know. You learned something. Flocculation.
Yeah.
So interesting. So combination of an idea that you had and then people just asking and kind of that
Yeah.
it feels like that want to make things yourself,
Mm.
be a home baker, jam maker, cheese maker, wine maker is really growing and exploding.
Yes.
And so you came at a good time to
Yeah.
offer those two great things, wine and cheese.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This
that
is good.
Definitely work out. Yeah.
Work out. So did you start with both? Like you had
Yep.
elements of both right out of the gates?
Mhm.
Yeah. And let's start, I guess, first with the cheese making parts. You've got kind of everything. Obviously, the
Yes.
rennet.
Yep.
If you need
Yeah,
rennet,
I
you're
have
going to
rennet
find
now.
it. And do you have all the different kinds? Some
Yeah.
vegetable versions, vegetarian rennets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vegetarian and
Mhm.
animal,
Okay.
liquid, tablets. So, and
Sure.
we always, whenever people come in and they're like, I need rennet. I'm like, you're making mozzarella, aren't you? They're like, how'd you know? I'm like, because all you want is rennet.
Because all you want is rennet. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, is anyone a vegetarian? They're like, no. Okay, get the animal. And if
Right.
it's yes, I'm like, then get the vegetables.
The vegetable, because you've got
Mhm.
this expertise now. And
Yeah.
did you self-taught yourself to do all this,
Yeah,
right?
I did. I mean,
Yeah.
when I first started, there weren't any YouTube videos or anything. It was,
Right.
I had Ricky Carroll's book.
You did. Isn't that great? Yeah.
And my friends.
Mhm.
So I did kind of lean on them a little bit because they had their experience. But I was like, is it supposed to look like this? And now I'm the one answering the phone when people are like, is it
Oh, I
supposed to look
bet.
like this? I'm like, yes. Don't worry. It doesn't look like cheese till it looks like cheese.
Yes.
So just
And it's all fine.
wait for it.
Wait, the little bit of patience when you're in the
Lot of
cheesemaking world, right?
patience, Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which I always think patience and cleanliness are the two keys to cheese making, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Gotta be clean because
Crazy.
cheese is a petri dish.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure the good guys are going in there and not the bad
Not
guys.
the bad guys. And
Yeah.
I think that's what's another thing, scares people away. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm scared that I'll put the bad guys in.
Yeah, a lot of people get really scared about that. And it's kind of a good thing to be scared about
Sure.
so that you're more careful. But you don't have to worry too much. If you're
Yeah.
clean and use
Mhm.
good starting ingredients, everything's going to be fine.
Everything is fine.
Yeah.
One of the main ingredients, obviously, milks. Do
Yes.
you offer any of those, or
No, that's the
that is
only
a separate
component we
mhm.
don't sell. But I always tell everybody you don't need special
Or a cow.
You don't need your own cow. A lot of people they're like, I don't know anyone with a cow or a goat. And I'm like,
Right.
you don't have to. It's okay.
Yeah.
Go to Walmart. They're like,
Yeah.
what?
What? Really, you can.
Seriously, my favorite milk.
Listen to this tip.
Yeah.
Favorite cow. Forget buying a cow.
I
Go to
know.
Walmart.
It's Walmart's
What?
cheapest store-bought pasteurized homogenized milk.
Get out of town. Who would have
No.
ever thought that?
I know. And I have tried, Vaughn's, Ralph,
Mhm.
Costco.
Right.
And they'll all make pretty
Sure.
decent cheese. Something about the Walmart, I don't know where it comes from. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's a little more local or
Mhm.
it just turns over faster because it's
Crazy.
more value priced. But
Yeah. But that's so good to know.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah, you
Because
don't need special milk.
I will agree. I've dabbled in the cheese making and the starter ones, the ricotta, the mozzarella, right?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
And the milk made a difference. And sometimes,
Mhm.
I kind of fell in love with the brand. And then some of them that you think you're paying extra for, like where they wouldn't even firm up or, you know what I mean? It was crazy,
exactly.
the difference in that. So that is a super tip because I know that's where a lot of people start. Yeah, cheese making is just get your milk. Then they can go to you for choosing the rennet and any other supplies. Cheesecloth, obviously, some of the basics. So if you're just starting, what do you need, really?
Not really much to start with. The most important thing you're going to need to start with is a really good pot.
Ah,
And
okay.
you want a pot that's what we call non-reactive. So basically avoid aluminum pots.
So those really lightweight, kind of tinny
Yeah.
ones, no good.
Right. Basically because cheese is acidic and it's going to react with the aluminum. So we want something more neutral, like stainless steel is great. You can use the cast
like
enameled cast iron.
Uh-huh.
But that one is a little harder to control temperature. So
Interesting.
that's where the stainless steel is a little nicer because it's easier to heat up, cool off.
Right. Oh, interesting. That is.
Yeah.
I always wondered about that. Why not the science of it all?
Yeah.
Ask the scientist.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So a good pot. If you're going to make any cheese, invest in that.
Yeah.
Cheesecloth typically for draining things.
Usually, yeah. Some people actually use pillowcases.
Do they really?
Yeah,
Like,
and it'll work.
it works.
Whatever you're using,
That's
boil
crazy.
it to sanitize
To sanitize it.
Just make sure it's clean before and after you use it.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah.
So that the bad guys don't get in.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah. And you can use it over and over too. A lot of
Sure.
people think they have to throw it away after they use it,
Yeah.
but just wash it with a little dish soap, boil it again, and it's good to
Good
go.
to go. Good
I've
to
had
go.
the same piece for 11 years.
That is really great. I mean, talk about
Yeah.
not wasting, and that's good. Is it like I often see that really cloth, the cheesecloth you'll see at Thanksgiving when you buy the cloth, and it's very cottony and
Right.
fabricy versus
Yeah.
kind of ones I want to say are almost plasticky.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
I'm glad you mentioned the grocery store cheesecloth.
Right.
Is not
No bueno.
for cheese making.
Really?
Your curds will go right through it. It's way too much of an open weave.
So tighter weave, hence a
Yes,
pillowcase. When you brought that up, I would have.
Yeah.
Okay, good one. So no on that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But then there is that nylon cheesecloth.
Yeah, okay,
and
nylon.
that one's very cool because the curds won't stick to it as much as it does a cotton cheesecloth.
Sure.
So that's kind of neat. And
That's
you can
an-
boil that one and totally reuse it.
Totally, and super easier to clean and maintain.
Yeah.
Okay, good, because I was kind of poo-pooing that at first. I'm like, oh, that seems plasticky or, nylon-y,
Yeah.
but obviously great benefits, and there's a reason for that. Okay. What if you're wanting to go above and beyond the starter cheeses, the fresh cheeses? What do you recommend as the next step?
So then you need to start investing in something to age cheeses in. So that's going to be your next big piece of equipment is basically a cheese locker. And a wine fridge makes a perfect cheese locker.
How convenient.
I know, right? Wine and cheese, they're meant to be.
Right.
Yeah, because you want to age your cheeses between 50, 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Regular fridge is too cold. It's meant to inhibit bacterial activity. But we want bacteria actually alive in your cheese. It's a good thing because they're changing things, metabolizing things, and making all that flavor. But you don't want them to do it too fast. So that's why you put them in a place where they go a little slower.
Okay.
Yeah.
At this kind of temperature, because hotter than this, it would speed that up.
Yeah, and it could get
warmer.
too rancid or too liquidy. So that's why I want to kind of keep them dampered.
Yeah, at that. Okay.
And we also need humidity too, so that our cheese won't dry out. So the wine fridge is meant to keep it a little humid so corks don't dry out.
I never knew that. I just thought it kind of kept at that temperature and
it's
looked
also
cool.
keeping it humid.
Keeping it humid. So it is the perfect blend for both. Bottle of wine and a wheel of cheese.
And you can age them together. I know a lot of people have a big wine cellar, and you can totally put your cheese in there. It's no problem.
And together. That's what I always think would be the cool. Yeah, to have a cheese cellar, wine cave together combo, whatever, obviously would be so cool.
Yeah.
And what type of cheese are you aging typically? Like, what did you start with? Was your first aged cheese? Do you remember it?
Well, actually, the very first cheese I made, it's not a good idea to do this, but it worked out. Because I was like, I want to make a hard cheese because I know it's going to take a while to age. So I want to make that first.
Oh, gotcha.
So I made a Colby. Yeah, and it was really good.
Was it good?
Yes.
Ooh,
so that was
Colby.
awesome.
Is that a California original Colby? Or do you know where Colby comes from? I don't
know about California. I think it's at least American.
American,
It's like American cheddar.
Yeah. Interesting. So it was delicious. Do you still make that Colby now?
Oh, sure.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
It's a go-to now.
I got to keep it in the cheese locker because it's like, well, this is my first cheese.
It's my first cheese and a good nibbler. That's so good. And now your recipe, is it different from other recipes? Or is there a kind of standard recipe for that?
There's sort of. So I do use the cheese making recipe books.
Nice.
Ricky Carroll, Mary Carlin's actually my favorite.
Okay.
We have a nice selection at the shop.
Nice.
By the way.
Yeah, for all the how-tos.
Yeah. So, but you'll see that it's interesting that all the hard pressed cheeses, the recipes kind of look like the same thing.
Yeah. And
And
how could they be different then?
right, so it's just little changes in the temperatures and the time, and you get a completely different cheese.
It's
And
crazy.
that's why we have all these thousands of cheeses.
Sure.
And they weren't all on purpose. Some were great accidents, like Red Hawk.
Yeah,
right.
right. Can we go into
Yeah.
those? The stinkies?
It was
yeah.
infected,
Right.
but they just rebranded it, and now they have a best-selling cheese.
Yeah. Stellar superstar. Bravo.
It's
Red
all about
Hawk.
marketing.
All about marketing. And just like in life, sometimes the mistake turns into the
Mhm.
best thing that ever happened.
Yep.
Right?
Like getting laid off.
The getting laid off turned into this. Right. Good
Yep.
thinking, G. So cold beef first.
Yep.
Did you ever venture into blues? Like that's a
Oh,
whole different category, right?
That's my favorite
Is that
one
your-
to make.
You really do. And now
Yeah.
I personally can attest. Well, it was a couple years ago though now.
Yeah,
Came in and you had
yep.
this stunning blue. And we're going to get to the fair too because I know
Mhm.
you participate in that.
Yes.
But this is the stuff that you see coming out of the caves of France. I mean, this is every bit as good. And
Yeah.
you made that.
It's
That's
always
to me
exciting.
kudos.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right. Kudos. That's a baby. But that
Yeah.
is your favorite blues.
Yeah.
Do you have to have special things for that? Equipment
So,
and space?
The mold ripened cheeses are the most difficult,
Mhm.
and not to make per se, but the hardest part's the aging them. They're very
Mhm.
sensitive to temperature and humidity. So I actually do have a separate cheese locker for my moldies.
Yeah, moldies. Okay.
Yeah, and I keep it a little lower just so they don't get
Mhm.
too watery too quick.
Interesting.
And yeah, just keep a little higher humidity, but
Yeah.
you really got to watch those or they could go wrong.
They can go wrong the
quickly.
most because of the higher humidity and just that moisture
No,
of them.
just getting the mold happy
Yeah.
at the right time and the right way. Yeah, they're just touchy little buggers.
Touchy
but
buggers.
It's one you need to practice the moldies.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a feel thing. But once you kind of know what they're supposed to look
Mhm.
and feel like at each week,
Okay.
then you're
you're
gonna
feeling
nail it.
confident. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got this. And
Mhm.
any epic fails then? You must have had some like that just, no? Or
yeah,
Not really. Like
I've had
just-
some that they just got too moldy in the
Mhm.
cheese locker. You do have to tend your cheese as you're aging it,
Mhm.
and I think aging is really the
Mhm.
hardest part of cheese making.
Really?
Yeah, so every
Mhm.
week I turn my cheese. I did it this
Yeah.
morning.
You did.
Because if you don't
Mhm.
flip it, it'll get really moist on the bottom, really dry
Sure.
on top.
Yep.
Which is, by the way, where Fat Bottom Girl came from. Another
Good.
mistake.
Another mistake. And probably her most popular cheese.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So, but I do flip mine, and that's also a good
Mhm.
opportunity to check the rind.
Yeah.
Because things are going to grow on the rind of a cheese.
Mhm.
It's supposed to. It's
Supposed to,
part
right?
of
Yep.
what makes it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are things you didn't put in there. There are
Right.
things that just naturally gravitate to the
Crazy.
cheeses.
Yeah.
So,
They're
but
gravitating from the air.
yeah,
Yeah.
mhm,
Mhm.
yeah, it's kind of scary.
There's
Um,
that exactly that scary science. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Is that
So
right?
you just want to manage those.
Uh-huh, okay.
You want them there, but you don't want them to get out of control because they will take
Mm.
over the cheese and ruin the cheese. So you need to wipe down the surface with vinegar or brine. I
Mhm.
keep most of mine sealed at this point.
Yeah.
But even then, it can poof up under
Sure,
the seal.
under the seal. And when you
Yeah.
talk seal, is it like a Ziploc? Is it that when you're saying
Actually,
seal?
vacuum
something? A vacuum seal.
sealer?
It was really
or,
airtight.
Or wax. But yeah,
Okay.
it is all about keeping the air out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't want to suffocate them sometimes.
Right.
But
so it's
again, the
managing all
balance.
that.
Yeah.
Because you can do natural rind too, but that's even more work. You need to oil the rind so it doesn't dry out. Yeah.
And what kind of oil
I
typically
like
do you
olive
use?
oil.
And olive oil.
And
Yeah.
you can even use like lard butter.
Yeah,
Mhm.
lard. I've heard, of course, a lot of the British cheddars are
Exactly.
famous for their larded
Mhm.
cheeses, and lard
Yeah.
is a good thing, everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't be
Shiny
scared of
lard.
lard. Oh, I haven't tried that. Okay. Multi-purpose. Cheddars, obviously you do. Do you need special like presses and stuff? And is this where you're
No.
getting into needing more expensive equipment or not necessarily?
No, it's all the same
Yeah.
equipment and it's pretty much the same technique. So
Mhm.
cheddars are interesting because there's an extra process called cheddaring.
Cheddaring. Mhm.
And that is the only thing that makes it different from just our plain
Crazy.
cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
so,
that extra process done
yeah,
to it?
And it's just that it's extra flipping and turning and incubating
Mhm.
before you press it to increase the acidity in the cheese, get the bacteria really revved up. That's why you get all that sharpness in a cheddar.
So cool. So cool. Do you stick mostly to cow milk cheeses or have you gone to the goats and the sheeps?
Actually, yes.
Oh.
So I like my Walmart milk, but
Mhm.
very lucky to have a super great farmer in town,
Yeah.
Jack Ford.
Oh,
He loves
famous
to share
for,
his,
yeah.
shares his milk. And yeah,
And it is
so
goats, correct, that he shares, or?
goats and sheep
And sheep.
on a good
Go
day.
Jack. On a good day, on a
Yeah.
lucky day. Yes.
Yeah. So
And he shares this with you. This isn't unfortunately for sale, or is it
No,
somewhere? No, this
no,
is
it's
just
not
you
for
are in a collaboration
sale.
and a test, and
Yeah.
he just likes to let
just for
people
home
learn
cheese
and
making,
Mhm.
exactly. Yeah. So, but I've been lucky enough
Oh,
to get some
nice.
sheep milk.
Sheep milk,
Made
just
some
fresh and
beautiful manchegos.
really.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just dying over those
how
right now.
lucky are you?
Very lucky. Very,
Yeah.
very lucky.
Because how much? Like a wheel of manchego? Are you making it that kind of that 5-pound size? And how much milk
Yeah.
does that
So
take
here's
from
the
you?
thing. So cows and goats, you typically get about a pound of cheese for every gallon.
Mm-hmm.
But sheep have so much protein and fat,
Mm-hmm.
you get almost twice that.
Almost twice.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, and I didn't fully expect it. I knew it before I started, but then I was like, oh my
When
God.
you saw it, yeah. This is
I need a
totally
bigger
true.
mold.
Interesting.
It was awesome.
That is really great.
Yeah.
That's. I don't think people understand, how much milk is required. I
Yeah,
always
yeah.
say that too. You picture that gallon sitting in front of there, and that's only a pound of cheese.
Yeah.
Kind of if you're
Well,
lucky. It's
but
crazy.
a pound of cheese.
Pound of cheese could
Pound
last
of
me a day.
mozzarella's- Yeah. It's about enough for a party.
Yeah,
Small
right.
party.
That's true. Exactly. Oh, yum, yum,
Yeah.
yum. Now, you've gotten into, I know, for many years, the San Diego Fair, the
Yes.
county fair,
Yeah,
has
yeah.
has started a cheesemaking competition for home cheesemakers.
Yes.
And have you participated every year?
Not every year, just because there were a few years I actually wasn't in town.
Mhm.
Not that I ever go anywhere, but it just happened to be the one weekend I went out.
That just, oops, can't do it.
Yeah. but
Yeah.
Yeah, you've judged.
I have
some of
judged.
those,
I know, and it's come so far. Can I
You-
say from the first year?
but I gotta say, you're the bravest person in the world to try homemade cheese from random people.
We don't know where that came from. Yay, hooray me. I'm still alive. I never had any
I
issues.
know,
There was
yeah.
some funky shit, though. I
I
gotta
know,
tell you,
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you. A few of them were scary. But thank you. It's been super fun.
Yeah.
But how impressive.
I know.
I mean,
I know. And actually, I
Whoa.
was impressed. Even from the first year, all the cheeses were quite amazing. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, bring it, people. Good for you. you know?
exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
bring it.
Yeah.
Just stunningly beautiful. And you've entered multiple ones, and we
Mhm.
don't know, of course, whose they are until after, but
Right.
kind of now I can see which ones are cheese.
Yeah. But
Because,
there's
yeah, it's
so
so
many
good.
great cheesemakers in town now.
That's
and
great.
a lot of that, it's not just the shop, it's actually the Cheesemaking Club Queso Diego.
Right.
Got to give them a big shout
Gotta
out.
give them a shout out because
Yeah.
that is, they really do work primarily to just promote the joy of home cheese making,
Yep.
right?
Yes, indeed.
And how they're
Yeah.
collaborative to share, oh, I tried this, it worked, this didn't work,
Yeah,
How
yeah.
cool is that, right? And it's
Yeah.
a big group now.
Yes, it is.
So if you're a
Yes.
cheese lover, look
Very
them up.
well organized too, I
Mhm.
must say. So
Yeah,
and
yeah.
fun meetings.
Fun
Yeah.
meetings. This is good.
Yeah, I think it's the I don't want to screw this up. Second Tuesday.
So it's a Tuesday, I know.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
I
the
think you're
second
right.
Tuesday of every month, but
Mhm.
it's on their website, quesodiego.org, or the Facebook page.
Yeah.
So everybody's invited. You don't have to be a member.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can come and check it out. And
Yeah.
no, really good. Just to promote that home cheese making.
Yep.
That is really, really cool. Are you going to do more competitions? Like, would you ever consider getting into commercial cheese making?
No.
Everyone wants something. No, everybody's just
No.
going to turn right back around. Because everyone asks, why isn't there commercial cheese making in San Diego?
Yeah, well, I don't want to get into commercial cheesemaking or winemaking because I want to keep it fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't want to deal with the bureaucracy. So, and with
Yes.
cheesemaking, it has the most.
Yeah, it's fascinating, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't think.
Well,
Mhm.
it's wine. It's all about taxes.
Mm-hmm.
But cheese, you can kill people.
Yeah. And does
So-
that have, have you read really horror stories
No.
or? Yeah, but I know
the
that's
thing.
always the.
But it can.
It can. So maybe they're doing a
yeah.
good job of making sure
Right.
it's safe.
Yeah.
So, right.
So, the whole
Yeah.
raw milk thing.
Mhm.
I always say in my classes, it's like all our cultures come from raw milk. They're bacteria that were already in there, but there's also bad guys, Listeria,
Mhm.
botulism.
Sure.
But Europe drinks raw milk every day.
I know.
And, if
And
it
it's
was-
set out on the counter.
they don't-
It's all
drop over dead like flies all the time. So
that's what I think.
yeah. So it's just about being careful, being clean, and knowing
Sure.
your source.
Yeah.
You always want to know your source.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you're fortunate though enough to get raw milk, say like you do have a
Right.
cow or you know someone with a cow, if it's super reputable, why not try them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think you can tell the difference when you use a raw milk? And do you think?
Sometimes cow's milk is special because it's not going to be pasteurized, and that's a whole different problem of trying to get the cream
Oh, the cows.
staying
Yeah.
in
Okay.
together
Interesting.
to
When
get
it's
the cheese
not
set.
pasteurized. When it's
Homogenized.
Homogenized. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But then like goat's milk's never going to need to be homogenized. So I have done side by side with raw goat milk
Yeah.
and the Trader Joe's goat milk, and I can't tell
The difference. This is good news, though, I think, in
It
a way,
is.
because people are always like, no,
Yeah.
we have to have
No,
pasteurized.
No, and they cost about the same. So everyone's like, it's so expensive. I'm like, well, it will be from someone that has their own goats because
Yeah.
they have to feed them and take
Care
care
for
of
them, house them.
Yeah,
Right. As
so
much as we love the
it
goats.
costs money.
Yeah, it sure does. That's what makes cheesemaking super. I mean, it is a pricey endeavor. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
why they cost what they cost.
Yeah. Although making your own cheese usually does save you, depending which cheese you're making,
Yeah.
and it'll save you a little bit to a lot.
Yeah.
Like the homemade chev, it's so easy.
It's so easy.
But even with the Trader Joe's expensive milk, it's not that bad. It's like $4 a quart.
Okay.
You're gonna get what a quarter pound out of that, which
Out
is
of that,
pretty
yeah.
decent. It costs less per pound than the Costco chev.
Right, which, and then we
And
can't
you
compete
made
with that.
it.
Yeah, and you
It's
made it,
fresher.
yeah. Exactly.
You could put whatever you want in it, whatever seasonings,
Right.
flavorings.
I do love that.
And
That,
it's
that just
fun.
becomes that little, just like canvas to do with what you will, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
really
that cheese
good.
is so easy. All you have to do is put a culture in the milk, let it sit overnight, strain it the next day for about 6 hours, and you have cheese.
And you have your
That's
chev.
it.
Seriously? And can my culture be lemon? Like a lot of people ask that. Lemon juice versus what
Well,
what does
that's
that need to
ricotta.
be? That's just ricotta
Yeah,
that'll do that.
so that's an acid
Okay.
set cheese, but a chev is actually is a culture cheese with a bacteria in it. And the direct set culture we have for chev has a tiny bit of rennet,
Oh, I was going to say, so rennet is not it.
just like a drop.
Yeah.
Just enough to
okay.
help it get a little
Yeah.
firmer.
Oh, nice. And is that expensive?
No.
Not at all. You
Not
could make
at
lots
all.
of batches from that.
Yeah.
But how
Yeah.
delicious. Because I do agree. Like fresh ricotta, once you've had that, you don't want to buy it. Don't
Never.
buy it. It's too easy. Never. You probably
Way
never,
too
ever.
easy.
And chev as well, because
Yeah.
it is too easy.
I can't do it.
I can't do
It's
it. I
like,
can't do it.
No, I gotta make it.
Right. Oh, nice. So, any like biggest tip for the person thinking about home cheese making?
Go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah,
That's a
go
good tip.
for it. And
Yeah.
Be clean. Take lots of notes.
Yeah.
Most
okay.
important things in cheese making.
Take your notes because then you're.
Lots of notes.
I liked it when I aged it at 50 degrees
Yeah.
versus
Or even
anything
you
like
know,
that.
I
Just
was,
any
I was
note.
heating the stove and the stove went out and had to take it to the neighbors, so it sat at different temperature for a couple hours. Things like that. The dog licked some of it.
Right.
Maybe it's the best cheese ever.
and then it becomes the best cheese.
Right.
You could
Dog
market
lick
it.
cheese.
Yeah, dog lick cheese. I like it. I like it. That is great tips. And don't be scared. You got to tell me
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Just
Just
not
gotta
to be
go for
frightened of
it.
those cultures
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it may not look right, but have you seen an unmade cheese? You know, you've got cookie dough. You have to make the cookie.
True.
So
Yeah.
just follow
Same
through,
thing.
keep going. You will have a cheese-like substance.
Yeah.
It will be edible. You'll be fine.
Awesome. Oh. And one last thing too on the cheese. Salt. Importance of salt. Any special one that you use? Or salt is a key ingredient, obviously.
Yeah, there is a special cheese salt, and the most important thing about cheese salt is that it's non-iodized. So you could use like kosher salt, but the thing about kosher salt is it's usually a big flake. The cheese salt's a very small
Is it more
grain,
fine?
so it's a lot easier to mill into the cheese. So it's more important to have the cheese salt if it goes in the curd before it gets pressed, for example.
Interesting, yeah.
But if you're brining or just flavoring, then you can use whatever salt.
Anything.
Yeah.
Oh, good tip. Non-iodized. Okay. Good tips.
Yeah.
I'm going to venture to the next level. Gee, I'm
All
going to
right.
do it. I'm going to do it, and I will not be scared.
All right.
But at the same time, before I do that, I'm going to go to your place because another thing that I love that I do want to touch on is the wine side of things. Because we had that opportunity, and we have to come back. It's just always getting in to do it. But where we did pick one of the, you'd call it a kit, right? A vintner
wine
kit,
kit.
a wine kit. This was so fun, everybody. We picked our varietal. And I want to say we came in about March because we knew we wanted it in November.
Yeah,
About
it
6
sounds
months or
right.
something around there.
Yeah.
But we got to go in there and kind of the grapes are already pressed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get these,
Yeah.
all the varietals
Mhm.
already pressed like that. So that's why you're saying you can make them any time of the year, right?
Anytime.
Of any
Yeah.
varietal. And I remember we picked a Syrah and we did a Pinot.
Mm.
Boy, was that fun. We had to go back. We had to go stir things. We had to do all the science things and try to learn at the same time how it worked.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you still do a lot of that for people,
Oh, yeah.
right? And
All
not
the
age their
time.
wine there. What do you do to
we,
wine? You
we
age it.
it.
Is that the term?
So
Yeah.
the reds are really the ones that
Okay.
age. The
Mhm.
white wines, pretty much 5 weeks from start to
You
bottle.
get it. Mm-hmm.
And then within a month, you can start drinking it. So fairly
I love
quick.
that. What about rosés? Is that considered in the
They're
white?
like,
That could take
yeah,
fast
they're like a
turnaround?
white. Uh-huh.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
whites, rosés, and dessert wines.
Okay.
will all be that quick.
That quick. But
Yeah.
the red ones, you might have to plan a little in advance.
Yes.
Because there are so many steps. And I
Mhm.
can be involved. When you're doing the kit with you guys,
Mhm.
you want the people to be involved, though. You don't want to be stirring their stuff for
They
them or
have
anything.
to
They have to be involved.
Yeah, for tax reasons, of course.
Interesting with the
Yeah, so-
alcohol rules.
Yeah, I mentioned
Okay.
Crush Pad before and
Mhm.
how they're custom crush. So they have a special license that they can make wine for other people. I'm what's called the Uvent.
Mhm.
So I'm a winemaking center. So I don't need any alcohol licenses. I'm a retail site. I sell you juice and I assist you in winemaking
Ah.
process. But you have to do all the steps touching all the alcohol.
To do it.
Yeah.
Ah,
So I can just
interesting.
clean things up for you
Okay.
and move it. But
And move it.
you have to actually do all the steps.
The steps.
Mhm.
Okay, good. Well, it was fun to do those steps, I
Yeah.
have to say. And then we had our little is it a carboy, right? Is that what
Mhm.
they
Yep.
age in?
Yeah.
Had our name on it, and we could kind of like check on them. And then we get to make our own labels.
Yes.
That was so cool because then it
And
became
that's
this
probably the
cool
best
gift.
part.
I don't know
Yeah.
if we can tell people if it's getting late for the holidays, but maybe you want to make a white or rosé for the holiday. Go
Yeah,
now because
now.
then you can decorate your label and then have a
Mhm.
gift for people. That was super
Yes.
cool. And I know
Yeah.
you do that with your own winemaking, right? Because
Oh, sure.
you enter wine competitions. And
Yeah.
are some of the wines you've won in some of the competitions from these kits?
Oh yeah.
Like, see, this is what I think people
Absolutely.
don't understand. Like, oh, I
Yeah.
have to get the fresh grapes at harvest season
Yeah,
or whatever
no.
to do this. No, these kits make some
Mhm.
excellent wine.
Yeah, and they only source the best grapes,
Mhm.
and that's the key to winemaking is your starting material because you're not making the wine, you're helping it evolve. It's different from cheese making. You make cheese.
Mm-hmm.
You still want a good starting material, but you create it. Wine is already there. You're just sussing it out.
Ah,
Yeah.
nice. That is so super. But you did, I saw, we flashed a picture. You had grapes arrive, though. You do some real grape make. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't want to say real. You know what I'm saying? Fresh
I-
grape making.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Actually, our big delivery is coming September 30th, Saturday.
Oh my gosh. Can people join this, see this? Or?
They can come see it.
Okay.
We have a small group of people that are
Mhm.
allowed to make wine on site with the fresh grapes called Grapes to Glass class. They are required to take our 2-part seminar series
Mhm.
first, which is done for this year. So you might want to think about it for next year. The
Okay.
seminars will start around July. But then they get to make the big humongous mess at our place.
All of the stems and
Yeah.
all the everything.
It's a
and
big sticky mess,
yeah.
especially delivery day. Everything is sticky.
Yeah.
But it's a good sticky.
Sure.
So
So fun.
and we have a pretty big group, and we also have people coming to pick up grapes that are taking it away.
Yeah.
So
nice.
yeah,
Because they might have a little press or they might do this in their
Yeah,
garage
a
or
lot
somewhere.
of people
a lot of people
well,
do
that's
that.
what I made my
Yeah.
first grape wines in the kitchen.
So good, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
And everybody asks, do you get to stomp the grapes?
we don't stomp anymore. We have
stomping.
machines.
Yes,
that do
exactly.
that, but
Okay,
you
well,
can
you
if you
know.
really want. Some people still do.
I
Yeah.
just saw it like an Italy thing again. You know,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
stomping
and-
the grapes.
yeah,
Okay, but how fun.
Not required.
Not required. Well, Curds and Wine, you guys, is the place. Wine and cheese, and it's Claremont Mesa, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great shop, and like I said, they have everything, which is super. So
our best.
check that out. Thanks for coming in, G.
Hey,
It's good to
thanks for
catch up with
having
you.
me. Yeah.
Thanks everybody for tuning in, and see you next time. Bye.